start the recording now, so just be mindful. Anything you say or do may come across the video and the microphone. We have this little owl guy here, so do project if you're speaking, because he's good in a small room, but a bigger room he struggles a bit, but he's still adorable. So with that, we'll go ahead and whenever the interim chair or vice chair would like to, we can start.
We'll call this meeting of the Youth Committee of Local Workforce Area 23 to order. Roll call, please.
Lori Jennings.
Here.
Chuck Jones. Carolyn Jorgensen.
Here.
Casey Burkholder.
Here.
Courtney Conlon. Lori Pullman. Stroll.
Here. Can we do a approval of minutes?
You know what? I don't see one.
You don't see why we can't? No. Okay, meeting minutes were sent out with the agenda from Tony. Please take a look at the meeting minutes from, we'll have June, September, and December, all of 2023 meeting minutes here. We did not have a quorum in June or September, so please take a look at those notes.
Wouldn't they have approved the June and September at the December?
That's in December, but it's in December when you had a quorum, right?
Okay, one off of the agenda. What would you like for me to do? I will do whatever you'd like, Tony.
Well, you have the.
There were motions and seconds in December, so.
So
I
we
think
just
we're
need
good.
December 12th, 2023 minutes. So disregard what I just said, and we're going with approval of December 12th, 2023 minutes. I would entertain any motions. Thank you, Casey. A second. Lori, a second. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Tony, note that Lori add her to the
Yeah, I got it.
minutes. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll walk in.
Sorry,
Hi, Lori.
guys.
Oh, you're
Sorry.
fine. I knew you was coming.
Number 3 is elect chair and vice chair of the youth committee. I would entertain any discussion or nominations for chair or vice chair. Is there one we should do first, Tony?
I would probably do the chair. And that being said, right now, the chair has to be a board member. That's what's going to be in the bylaws. We're going to change tonight at the board meeting.
Do we want to talk any about that? Does anyone have any questions on the changes that will be going to the board at our 6 o'clock board meeting?
There's the changes we made. Still going to be a standing committee, but we don't have, we're not held with the 51% board members being a member of this committee. So we get a better representation of the youth community, I guess, on this committee. That's the only thing we changed in the bylaws. But it does say that the board or the chair of this committee has to be a board member. That's the only restriction we're going to have with this next item.
Lori, do you feel all eyes on you?
Ears getting red.
I mean, I would move to nominate Lori Porman as chair of the youth committee if she would accept.
Should we do this as an interim and as we create a different composition of the youth committee, then revisit that in the future? Or are you
I think
okay
it'd
with
be a
doing this for
wonderful-
the next term? Okay. You have good support. We're here.
Yes, yes. So the motion on the table is Lori Porman nominated as chair, and she has graciously said yes. So we would need a second for that motion to carry. Second from Lori Jennings. Do I need a roll call vote on that?
Who made the motion to do it? You did, right?
I did. And a second from Lori Jennings.
So that's for the chair, right?
Yes.
Vice chair?
Want to do them
we
both
can do it
together?
the same motion. Just make some minutes a little less.
Entertain any motions for a nomination of vice chair.
Kayla Lambert.
Does the vice chair does not have to be a board member?
No, because we really don't have to have a vice chair. We just have it just so they can take the place of the chair if they're absent. So our bylaws don't say anything about vice chair for other committees. It does about the board, but not. We're just doing this to, so in Lori's absence, you would just run the meeting is really all of this.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Tony.
No, I can't. So
Oh.
somebody else. Lori,
Somebody-
Lori motioned because she was jabbing me in the side. And so
I will make that motion for Kayla Lambert to be our vice chair.
didn't mean to throw you under the bus, Kayla.
So we have a
Threw me
motion
too, so
from
there.
Lori Jennings for Kayla Lambert to be the vice chair of the youth committee. Do we have a second on the floor? Second from Carolyn Jorgensen. So that will be Lori Portman chair and Kayla Lambert vice chair. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 4 on our agenda is youth committee reorganization and recruitment. I'm going to turn that over to Lori Portman. She had some information from when we met late January. Is that right? Seems like it was yesterday and 6 months ago, all at the same time. To talk about who do we want to sit on this committee? Who are the most valuable people to have around the table? And how do we get them here?
It's all good. I just made copies, so you actually have to flip to the back to see the.
That's right.
I've got my
today. You're ready.
Yeah.
She's ready, yes.
Or you need one?
Thank you. I got one right here.
Okay, yeah, I made it. Me a
I
copy.
mean,
Okay, perfect. So the conversation that we had at our last meeting was in reference to, again, who was going to potentially add value and sit on the board. And I think it was really cool to see a really diverse group of people that were recommended. So I think at this point in time, what we'd like to do is maybe go through it, and two, I admitted to, because I don't speak the same language as some of you do based on my position in regards to the acronyms and stuff that are used. So I would ask that certainly support in regards to that. But as we go through, how do we, what we'd like to go through this list, make determinations, and then create some action items as far as potential contacts and things like that. The one thing I'm excited about too is getting, just being transparent, is getting Moultrie County and the county that I am in certainly more active with this group as well. So I had made some recommendations in regards to this. So how would we like to proceed through this? Starting with the organization of agencies. And those of you who made the recommendations, you can certainly speak to that. I think there were 5 of us total who made the recommendations. So in regards to education for employment systems, we've got Courtney that was as someone. So if anybody wants to speak to that, those individuals who had put this group on there and to what value we think they'd add, I think that would be helpful.
The EFE office, or the Education for Employment Systems, that is out of Mattoon. There is an area like that in every area of Illinois. They help bridge the gap between K through 12 and higher education. They have CTE dollars. So I'll talk just a little bit about what the EFE in Mattoon does and why I think it would be valuable. They help with the health op classes. Those have been going on for 20-something years. They provide support for students, and they also hire the instructor. They work with our automotive program that does a dual credit or dual enrollment, meaning that students are taking college credits and high school credits at the same time, and they're being counted in both the high school and the college level. The EFE also works with professional development and career exposure for students at the K through 12 level. And I said professional development. The professional development would be more about the K through 12 CTE instructors being exposed to professional development and other career opportunities that are out there, and help students be able to see them. So I think that the EFE in all areas of the state of Illinois represent what they're seeing at the K through 12 level and would bring value to the table for what they see and do each and every day.
So in regards to, I guess, in moving forward and creating action items for this list, so that we're able to successfully do something with it, is Courtney,
She would be here tonight, but she's sick.
Yes, she had a last minute emergency, otherwise she would be here. She, as
so
far
that's
as I
not
know, has
somebody we
full
have to solicit
expectations
their
to.
part of. Okay. And how many, remind me how many?
Anywhere from 8 to 11.
We need to be thinking about that. as
Yeah,
well.
how many people you want on? I mean, anybody can be invited, but who do you want officially on it as far as the minutes are concerned and quorum purposes and that kind of thing? So that's my suggestion. 8 to 11, because you get any higher than that, you're gonna have trouble getting a quorum. Any less than that, you're gonna have trouble getting a quorum.
So some of these individuals might not be part of our youth committee, but they would be individuals that we invite to speak.
Correct.
At our youth committee.
That's the way I see it anyway.
If we're
So-
looking to fill 3 spots, then this would be like the choices that we could reach out to and hope that 3 of them responded that they would like to join. And those who aren't interested in joining may be a partner in the future to have as guest speaker or advisory if needed.
So really, I don't want to interrupt the conversation about what you got planned to talk about. But right now we've got Lori, Carolyn, Casey, Courtney, Lori, and Chris. So we've got 6 right now that we really don't have to talk about, because unless somebody wants off the committee, and you feel free to get off, it's fine. But that's up to you guys. But we've already got 6, so we're already talking. You only need 3, 4, 5 new people.
Well, and when I was contemplating this specific list, also was thinking about it, not just as youth committee members, but resources that we would have to leverage for different initiatives and stuff that we were taking on. So the one question that I have to ask too, I know we talk about K through 12, so forgive me, but are we going to have a focused group that we're really going to focus on? I mean, how, we talk about K through 12, but is it really high school students that we're focusing on, or so I don't know from the language standpoint, and that's where I'm going to be challenged, right? Is just being real and speaking out in regards to those things. If we're going to focus, I would think, on a specific age group that's going to be our audience that we're going to hone in on versus speaking to K through 12.
I think the language, the definition is very different, because K through 12 would be most of the time 18 years of age and younger. But as our youth definition for WIOA, that would be up to age 24.
And
So that's,
of their college age. Right. You guys will have to point that out to me, because I've not been doing this long enough for you to understand all those things. So do we want to talk about ROE and Zach and Kyle and Katie?
I did include Regional Office of Education. I think they represent K through 12 in their given area. Our local workforce area would sit in 2 ROEs, if I'm not wrong. 11 and 3, 11 in Mattoon, and 3 in Vandalia. They do represent when you go to a meeting at the ROE, they talk about everything from transportation to transitioning kids out of K through 12 and into higher ed. So I think they could be a representation for the K through 12 partners. Because if we start looking at principals, superintendents, and social workers, you're getting into a very, or even counselors, you're getting into like a very specific person in a very specific school district, where the ROE would cover a broad range of counties and schools. And anybody who knows about ROEs, help me fill that in a little bit.
I would agree with you on that. ROE has support of representation in general, and we would know who on their team would be a resource that we could get in contact with, maybe even for a presenter or some sort of work with grow, let's do something type of thing that they know their staff. So
3 ROEs, because Marion County sent 13.
Okay, so that would be 3 ROEs, 11, 3, and 13.
Val Thompson, the regional, the ROE superintendent in the Charleston office. The Charleston, well, the ROE 11 covers Coles, Edgar, Moultrie, Shelby, and Douglas.
Who covers Clay? Because the high school counselor at Flora High School, she used to be on this youth committee prior to the pandemic and stopped attending, but she's the EFE director. So would be like a colleague of Courtney's, but would be serving the EFE that's south of this area in the Clay County area. Is that 13 as well?
Lori just looked it up. She said it's 12.
12.
So that would be actually 4. I know. We couldn't match up areas,
No,
could we?
no,
Not
that's too easy.
school districts,
Or
community
spread
college
it, yeah,
districts,
just spread it.
ROEs. Well, and that would also include your homeless liaison, which is your McKinney-Vento liaison, is also through your ROE. So if you looked at someone from the ROE, I think that would take care of school counselor, school social worker, principal, superintendent, alternative ed, because they run the RSSP schools, and your McKinley-Vento liaison, along with LIFT and ERCA. Not trying to lump too many things together, but also thinking about numbers of people and how one person might be able to represent a larger population. I see you're looking at me with a perplexed look on your face.
No,
Lori.
I think what I'm most concerned, and not concerned about, but I think our opportunity here is to make sure that all counties are represented. And it sounds like,
It looks like the 11, according to this 11.org, it includes Clark and.
so I think in any of these efforts, it's important from a focus standpoint, for all counties that are being represented here, if all possible, that we're reaching out and trying to get representation.
Availability of some of these partners is also a factor. Offering for them to come and be a part of a meeting maybe. And then if there was one particular ROE that had someone who has time to do this, and then having the other ROEs included as on emails for initiatives that are going out or opportunities for partnership, because not every ROE superintendent or designees, it's not necessarily going to have the time to come here. If we could get one representation from the broader audience and then include everybody else on an email distribution list, that might be a way to disseminate information regardless of physical participation.
And to that, also to add, I think the ability to have Zoom available,
Exactly.
because because I drive a distance to come, and I appreciate the fact when we have Zoom capability, we're not taking half a day, like work on it. It's not having those capabilities. So it's an action item, and I'm not sure where this is located, but that we would gather all the contact information for these individuals. And how would we go about doing that? I'm sure it's probably in a place where we can just look it up.
You know, I see the website now, it's on there.
Ask, Zoom count.
Right now it does.
Yes.
As long as-
It might change, but that executive order or whatever that Pritzker gave when the pandemic came out, it has not been rescinded yet. So we were under the impression that Zoom attendance is legal.
Once that emergency declaration is repealed, then we go back to the Opens Meeting Act, which does specifically speak out about workforce areas that are more than like 6,000 square miles, and we're 6,500 square miles. So there could be the potential for a hybrid, but we have to meet at least quorum in a physical location, and then all agree to allow anyone who's joining remotely to then join remotely. Hopefully, after they've seen all that everyone's been through in the last 3 years, that when the Opens Meeting Act goes back into full effect, that there will be some change there that would allow a little more flexibility, but until then, we can just hope.
So some of this, obviously, I don't know that we need to go through the individuals that have been listed under school counselors, school social workers, school principals, school superintendents. And certainly the alternative career classes, which I had listed on there as well. I have had personal experience with some of these individuals, as I believe some of you have in regards to the counselors and stuff. And so even if we bring them in and we have an individual as part of one of the overarching that handles really, it speaks for all of our communities and our counties. But the value that these individuals add based on the experiences and some of the things that they've done within their schools and how they've approached things, I think can add value to this group, because there's some potential best practices that we would walk away from and be able to potentially initiate some additional things within other counties based on their experiences. So I would recommend that these individuals probably be more individuals who come and are speakers rather than maybe part of the committee.
I think that's a great idea.
Committee member.
No.
Okay, I mean, I get what you're saying, that you want to have these people periodically come and talk to the group. I think and I'm being selfish because it's about me right now, about trying to get things in compliance
Yes.
with everything.
That I have to rely on because I don't have a
Yeah,
clue.
right. So to be in compliance with everything, we need to have a set board member. If we're gonna say we're gonna get somebody from an ROE, we don't know the name yet, but at least I can have that in the notes. It's gonna be an ROE, and that's gonna be the goal before next meeting, is to get a name and to somebody that's actually gonna show up. So is that what we kind of agreed, you guys agreed on? It's somebody from an ROE. And I know you said we want every county sort of represented, but to have that happen, you're gonna have more than 11 people. If you want to get outside of the ROEs, you know what I mean, if you want a corrections officer or somebody in there, then I mean, where do you draw the line? Do you want a correction officer from every county, or you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think getting somebody from ROE, absolutely. Just the sector is what you're looking at, not necessarily geographic area. We don't want everybody from Effingham or everybody from Mattoon, but I think it's foolish in thinking we're going to get somebody from every county from an ROE. I think our numbers are gonna climb pretty quickly.
Can the representation not come from just having people from different counties though come and talk, not
Oh,
necessarily?
absolutely,
a few
absolutely.
board members?
They can do that. I'm just to the point where we get somebody that's gonna count for a quorum when they show up. So that
Right.
they're gonna be at every meeting, every quarter, and these other folks are just gonna come
Right.
and
So-
give a talk once a year, whatever the schedule it is.
Right. So I think what we're saying is that that may not be these individuals that are individually listed from, and unless somebody shows a level of interest that they want to, and then based on us looking to get 3 to 5 people, then we would potentially consider that.
I think you narrow down ROE, narrow down a person.
One person
One
from
person.
an ROE.
Yeah.
Of
I
the
I
four
would think,
ROEs.
and I know
Well, Julie Wallerman was
She
on the
was.
board for a while, but then,
she
she
kind of
didn't-
disappeared on us.
Okay.
She even emailed me before and said, she didn't have time for this. And she was great when it happened, but then that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing now. People just kind of scattered and went their own ways.
And that's been a while since she's.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So like Heartland Technical Academy is part of Richland, which is actually in Macon County, but our county certainly leverages that and uses it. It's Heartland, and you may already be familiar with it, so if you are, forgive me. But it's where high school students can go and take accredited courses through Richland in more technical skills and things like that. And our schools, certainly within our county, have leveraged Heartland in the past. Now, since COVID, not sure what happened. But I don't know what other, Lakeland, or if there's any other things that are similar to Heartland and they really focus on high school students.
That would be lived in ERCA in this area. At least that would be my, what I would call equivalent to what you're talking about. Lyft is newly opened. They are, Nancy, second semester, is that right? This fall was their first fall open and this, right?
Yes, well, yes. So this was the first year for it, and I think that they started second semester with one of the classes because it wasn't. So it wasn't a year-long class, it was just a semester class. That was the. I think it started in January.
Then ERCA, we will house it in the new building that Lakeland College is building right south of the Kluge Center, working on curriculum. We've got an Explore ERCA class that was opened up to 14 local high schools, including high schools in Moultrie County, to come. But I think there were only students from Effingham County that came this last semester.
And as you say that, I think to have individuals to come and educate, and you may know, but to educate us in regards to everything that's available, classes. I think that's what I'm
Plain Shaper. So you just, so you guys know what Lyft is. They cover, because they're starting this fall, this coming fall, Effingham is going to be included. Effingham students will be included. in the Lyft this fall.
Talking about getting McLean here as a
That-
member.
That would
Or
be
just-
a
Probably a
speaker. I think that's what they were
Yeah.
talking about.
Okay.
so just want to kind of like circle back. So with our current committee, we would have from Title I, we would have Lori and Elaine from Title I, right? Title II is me.
Title III.
Title
Casey,
III is Casey. Title IV,
Carolyn.
Carolyn. Oh, that's right. Okay, Carolyn.
Diana's always still in my mind.
I don't agree. So it's like,
Bulldozer.
well, there's a couple cases on here, so I don't know which one was first.
That's your title partners, and then you have Lori as a board member, which is great because she's doing the youth program through.
And
close.
I know, I'm all over the place, aren't I?
For the sake of time, make sure that we're getting what we want to get done today. I guess in looking at this, is there anybody else that we want to talk about that we would add? And then how are we going to, the next question would be, how are we going to communicate with these individuals? Like, can we create a letter that, or something that we would send to all of these individuals, letting them know what it is that we're looking for and that we want to do?
As far as the committee members, or if you're talking about,
Yeah, we're
Just-
talking about two different things here right now.
for the committee members, I think a phone call,
Just
just like, hey, Kyle.
I think we
Zach,
do have to have
Julie,
a
Amber.
cohesive message, though. This is what our youth committee does. This is what we're expecting of you. This is the ask, and this is why we think you would be a good fit. Would you be willing to join the committee? In addition to our title partners, Lori, and the ROE that we talked about, I suggest we also see about getting someone from juvenile justice arena. And I would like to see potentially additional business partners who work with youth. So if that's someone who supports like a Class E or a CEO type of program, or who just employs a lot of young people and is very committed. I think those are two that we don't want to leave out, to at least try to recruit from juvenile justice and local business leaders.
Who are some business you guys work with?
A probation officer from Effingham was a speaker. I was quite impressed with her.
Who was it?
Do you remember, we had someone from the probation office? Cheryl. Craig. Is that what it was? She impressed. She's very good. And she's still.
Is it Sharon Myers? Sharon Myers, yeah.
What?
She's my aunt. We have an aunt.
We have it in, exactly.
She's very good. I was quite impressed with the program.
And under these local businesses and local leaders, it looks like Casey Summers, Probst Auto Bodies, are these places that employ youth that we know of? Or
Casey Summers does, I know, because I had a couple of my students, when I was doing the workforce. course, to detail cars. One student ended up,
we have probably 20 high school students who work for us. Work around their schedules, as well as started with the summer program and call it our student learner program. We have a whole presentation, which I think you shared with me, that when we went to a meeting, we started with Bison Prep is where we started it at, and we continued it, and our students actually were saving grace probably when it was so difficult to hire and stuff. So I am very much all in regards to the students, and it's not just high school students, it's college students as well. So I think that having people though that we have partnered with, like Matt Schoaf, I have to call him out from Oka Valley, who's the principal there. And the difference between Matt is, from an administrator standpoint, he knows his students so personally that he knows they may not be going to college, right? Or they may not, or he knows their family situation at home. I mean, the stories when we interview these young people and how sometimes they become the adult in the house is just absolutely amazing. And we work on their soft skills as well as, teaching them how it is to work and be in life. So that's really where we come from a student learner program and how we support that. And some of the people that I've listed on there are individuals who've just been part of our journey. And how they're involved and how I believe what they do, because not all high schools operate that way, how what they do at their school and how that supports the youth in our area. But in going through this list again, so we're talking about two different things. We're talking about people who would potentially become members. So are there some individuals or part of the youth committee that you have that you want us to focus on going after? We would add value. That or others outside of this list. This is just the information I was given. So if there's people outside of that list, absolutely.
Would your aunt do it?
I don't know.
You
I
think
think
she would choose somebody in her office
I
would
think
do
she
it?
could find somebody to do it. She is definitely,
I know her real well, I'll call her. Been on boards before together.
she's close to 60, so I feel like she's, getting closer to
That is
retirement.
so.
I'm not saying
Hello.
that. I'm saying that she's getting close to retirement, so.
Lucky her.
I'll call her. I
So,
know her
okay, so
well.
we got the probation side covered. So you're gonna call her, right? Okay, now we got the ROE. We know somebody from ROE. We get a person.
So if we were looking at 8 members, we would have 2 from Title I, 1 from Title II,
Lane won't
1
be,
from Title III.
she won't be a member.
Okay,
She would be a proxy for Lori Fitzgerald. So we don't need.
1 from all the title partners is 4. If we had 1 or 2 members from K through 12, EFE, ROE, whatever that looks like, and 2 industry partners, that would be 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, that would be 9, right? 2, 4, 8. That would be 9 members.
Or did you identify another?
No, I was just kind of thinking in my mind, like, if we looked at the 4 title partners, our representation from K through 12 and our representation for business and industry, that would give us the framework then to figure out who are those people to put in those spots. Does that make sense?
Mandy Martin's on our board.
Okay, I was thinking, oversees that apprenticeship.
Yeah, the apprenticeship
Yes.
thing. Yeah, Robert's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's good.
I mean, I was just thinking of, like similar to what you guys do. And then, Rachel, like you talked about Courtney Conlon and her position. So is Kelly Massey the same?
That's her,
type of
yes.
position?
She would be more the equivalent of Laura Sullivan, that's Courtney's supervisor,
Okay.
but the same idea of being that education for employment services, being the career technical education for secondary school.
Just thinking regionally.
Yeah, she's the one that, you were the one that introduced me to her, but she had said that she used to sit on this committee prior to the pandemic, and then when it went during the day, she couldn't do it anymore. Well, now we're back to afternoons, evenings, whatever, so maybe it's worth reaching out to her again.
I'm just thinking from a regional perspective.
Yeah.
Like she covers several
Mhm.
high schools.
I'm not sure of her exact
uh,
coverage, but I'm sure it's more than just Flora High School or Clay County High School. Is it Flora High School that we went to?
Yes.
Okay.
And talked about CEO organizations. There's a lot of that have business representation as the person that's maybe the organizer or leader or somebody else. And the county has a different, it's not CEO, they have a Excel, and there's a lot of other places that have. Organizations, but I don't have one. I do know the one that did Excel. County has like a diverse size and stuff, that's fine.
Well, and Hannah who does Illini Prairie. I have we support them and they come in a couple times a year, so I can certainly, based on.
We don't really need anyone from the south part of the district, from our area. We have no one from Olney, Lawrenceville, Robinson, Centralia, Mount Vernon, Miami.
No.
Yeah, Mount Vernon.
So how do we get individuals from the south?
Well, I would suggest we look at the regional office of that down there and try to particularly target them as a partner. I am less familiar with business organizations. I used to be a teacher, so I'm pretty familiar with the regional office of ed. And so I think maybe for board member to, or a committee member, I'm sorry, but, maybe reaching out to those ROEs from that down there. Preferable than just concentrate up here.
That was the Julie Wallerman had
She was
been on the
south,
board.
yeah.
And then had, let's say, taken herself off, but just didn't have the time to do it. So I don't know if we reach back out to 3. She was in Bend. Yeah,
Maybe she would recommend.
she might. I don't think they are on Fayette, I think, yeah. I'm forgetting the county.
Clay. South.
Be southeast of us. That's what, I mean, I'm just looking at the map in my head and that's the area. If we go down South Vandalia, well, okay, we got South covered, we got Mattoon, Charleston, Effingham covered. That 4 or 5 counties down there, Richland and Clay and Lawrenceville and all that, that's where we're missing some.
Working with youth, and we never worked with these before. Bridgeport High School, they were very good. They were very interested in what's going on and how they could help these kids. I don't know anybody in particular, but I know that was one of the high schools that we went in and did applications, and they were really interested in what was going on.
And that was Bridgeport.
Bridgeport High School,
So is there a central location where we can go and gather all this contact information?
ASBE's website, if you can find it, it's not super friendly for finding information sometimes.
I mean, if I Google regional offices of education or I'm sure I can get additional contact.
You'll get your elected official, so the ROE
Somebody
is
to
an
talk
elected position. So the Julie Wallerman, the Kyle Thompson, those are elected every, I don't know if it's 4 or 6, is it 4?
So in order to make this palatable, where we can achieve something, do we want to focus on finding the board members first?
I think so. And then you
go
start
from
talking.
there?
We need a committee, a structured committee before we start getting people to talk.
No.
'Cause right now, we don't have anybody to talk to.
Okay. So somebody potentially from North American Lighting, and what was the name of that individual?
Robert Woolham. Because really what you're gonna want when we report out to the board is 1 representative from this group, 2 representatives from business and industry, 2 representatives from K through 12. You don't necessarily want for us to say 1 person from the ROE and 1 person from the EFE.
Yeah.
You're just wanting over globally, these are the people that we're going to have on the board.
Yes, yes. We don't want to get back into the routine of having people just to have people and having meetings just to have meetings. I mean, we want people that are interested in dealing with youth every day and what kind of information they can bring to the table. Because I tell you, for the last 20 years, we've been spinning our wheels. It's time for that to change. Like, you don't have people in this committee that are actively involved with the youth. We're going to go back to 2003.
So we could circle back, I think, in understanding who it is that we want to approach in regards to becoming a committee member, and just to simplify this, based on everybody, because there's been a lot of people that have been talked about where it makes it a little confusing. Who is it that we want to approach? So do we feel like we talked about the education and employment system. So we have one, do we want an additional person that represents? Is that what we talked about, getting in contact with the ROE?
I think it would be safe to say that that would be the secondary education partners. So whether that's ROE, whether that's EFE, whether that's a principal administrator, we have secondary education partners. We want at least one more of those, from what I understand from the conversation. We want at least one more business leader representative. And from there, I kind of got lost, honestly.
And one person from juvenile justice.
Juvenile
So
justice.
juvenile
Is that right?
justice, yeah, we've already got, Elaine's gonna talk to Effie again. So we kind of got that one, at least. We've got a phone call being made. So ROE, we don't know. I mean, what area we're picking?
I think we're gonna have to ask a few people, because if we just plan on asking one ROE and they say we don't have anyone, then we start all over again. So if we put out feelers to a couple ROEs down south in the EFE, that might give us more to work with. Unless all 3, 4 people we talk to say, yes, sign me up, then that would be how my life works.
We got a big committee and
It would not be how it usually works.
No, but just when we expect it to not work that way, that's when it happens. What is that, Murphy's Law or something?
Well, and I would be happy to reach out to Zach in 3 if there is not anyone from another ROE that is interested in attending the meetings. Because I do think that he would be interested, but he's also,
And he's from the Regional Office of Education, so.
he's getting ready to retire.
well, at least give you somebody.
Yeah. I think he would come until.
So I'm just, what I've got written down, ROE3, Chris, you're gonna call somebody from ROE3. Corrections, you're gonna call somebody from corrections. You mentioned Robert Woolham. Does anybody want to contact Robert? Yeah, you.
I'll send you all what's in the bylaws as far as what the youth committee's responsibilities are, and then just give an outline of when the meetings are, and maybe also mention that we would like to touch base in between the quarterly meetings too, preferably maybe by Zoom call, and that's still to be determined to schedule.
So is our goal to have these individuals, hopefully, or have 3 to 5 individuals at our next quarterly meeting that we're going to invite to come and participate and experience it with us?
Do you feel like that's a good goal?
I think that's a great goal. I think they need to understand who we are. But with that said, somebody needs to be the cheerleader and selling what it is that we do that's very knowledgeable. So who is going to be the speaker at our youth meeting? Like these individuals. Lori, I feel people staring at you now.
I just blacked out. What's going on?
And it could certainly be more than one person.
Absolutely. I do think, I mean, since they run the Title I youth program and they deal with youth every day, maybe one of their case managers or one of you guys probably would be the best to get people that don't know what's going on kind of up to speed. We do want to get this committee away from Title I though, but that would be a good start, I would think.
Of what we provide, but I also think maybe Jamie, looking at it from more of a global standpoint of this is how we get our funding and this is our mission, or this is what we're going to be working on as a youth committee. Because you're right, I haven't sat on this committee for 20 years, but we do a lot of sputtering.
So ideally, there would be some sort of orientation. Do you want that to happen at the next meeting or prior to the next meeting?
Would it be an orientation or would it be more introducing them to, because I certainly am still learning in regards to everything that this committee is and is about and can do. So would it be an orientation for them, or would it be bringing them in and selling them on being a part of this group?
To me, that's tomato and tomato, because I do orientations for the board and I try to sell it to them. Maybe I'm not a good tomato
They're
seller,
already-
but I
they're already
try.
committed. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So it will be orientation.
Or selling. I like that. That does sound nice. I'm gonna sell it to them.
And And I think that's a great idea. As Carolyn said that, it is about introducing them to the people who are here and the value that they're adding, because everybody has an area of expertise, right?
Yes,
that
I
they
think
bring to this committee.
each
And
of the
then talk
title
about,
partners.
here's why we need you. You know, here's what we're.
In fact, all of us could do that, but frankly, introducing ourselves to.
Sure.
People on who are orientation, give our little elevators,
So we've got kind of a rough agenda. How are we going to manage as to whether these individuals are going to be at the meeting or not? I get what communication needs to be in place between now and then, so that we're reaching out to others.
Can you put a script together, Jamie?
Yes,
Just
that's
like
what I
a-
have. I'll do a script. I was gonna put ask. And then once you guys have contacts that confirm they would be interested and they want to learn more, then we should have a touch point about midway through maybe. And then from there, we can ascertain who all RSVP'd or showed interest.
So what would be midpoint?
Next meeting's June 12th, I think. So we're looking at end of April, beginning of May.
So what would everyone feel comfortable as far as a targeted connect?
Do we want to do this, are you talking like we want to do like a Zoom call or something like that?
I
Yes.
prefer Zoom. I think it's just as. Yes.
Pick a day and time.
Good, how are you? So does like end April work better or beginning May work better? Does anyone have
No
glaring
preference.
conflicts?
Not the same day as WIOA Summit.
Everything is that week.
Yes, the week of WIOA Summit would be a hard week because we'll be out of the office. a couple of
That
days.
last week in April,
And it's
he's
graduation
doing
week.
monitoring for us too.
And we could be getting DCO monitoring anytime in May. We don't know
Right.
what time. I'll want to do a doodle poll when I send out the ask and we can see,
Sure.
I love it.
pick a few days, those last days of April, first days of May, and you guys can
Yeah. We
tell.
just want to give ourselves enough time to check and adjust if something's not going our way.
All right, I got a few people in the waiting room for consortium. So
Okay.
what else do we need to do to wrap this up?
So I know I'm reaching out to Robert. And who else are we asking?
Somebody from
Elaine
corrections.
is
Probation
doing
office,
Effingham
okay.
County probation. I am going to reach out to Zach at ROE3. We already have Courtney on board. Lori, that should be it.
It's not. If we get those three, that's nine.
We just need a backup plan to be thinking about when we have our touch base call.
So I can ask Kelly. to join us again, something like that.
Okay, put the feelers out there, and if she says no, I won't be too upset, but if she says yes, we might need her to fill in anyway, so we can accommodate.
I'll spell her
Again,
own.
she would be in Clay. and would really send that out.
Yeah.
Okay, our next meeting starts in just a couple of minutes. So anything else on youth committee reorganization recruitment? We'll move on to number 5, report on activities and programs for youth.
I'll talk real fast. Lakeland, they completed our routine program monitoring for adult youth distributed worker for the time period covering February 22nd of last year through February 27th of this year, the week of February 27th. Tony was there. There were no findings from this monitoring visit, happy to report. Lakeland, they're scheduled to do fiscal monitoring for us the week of April 24th. And then DCEO, they will be here in May for our annual program monitoring also. So we're going to get hard 3 months in a row. We are staff. We've attended 5 service matrix trainings provided by DCEO during the month of February. The service matrix is a DCO OET resource for participant services and a standardized reference tool categorized by adult, dissipated worker, career and training, youth program elements, supportive services, follow-up, and work-based learning. The state's worked really hard on this, and this, I think, is going to be an asset for our career planners out in the field. So we're happy to see this go live and available to our career planners. I met with Kim Harden, Eastern Illinois Area of Special Education, on February 15th to discuss youth program eligibility, work experience, and just how we can work together, better serving those kids in the Mattoon and surrounding areas. We're looking forward to summer semester. Students in IECC and KC, they began registering for summer and fall classes last week. Lakeland started this week, right? So staff are just working real closely with our continuing students, getting them ready for summer classes. We currently have 95 customers receiving career and or training services in the youth program. We have exited 38 customers. So the total number served to date is 133. And then I'm going to jump into performance real quick. You want to?
Just real quick, those who are joining us online, we are wrapping up our youth committee meeting, so bear with us just a moment and we'll get started on consortium.
Okay, so looking at just the youth performance measures at the top, we are exceeding 4 of those measures, and we are failing that youth credential attainment rate. We just need 1 more to meet that measure and 3 to exceed the measure. So we've got until the end of June as students graduate, complete high school, graduate from college, those numbers will be changing. We've identified 8 that will be graduating in May that are in that current pool right now. So more than likely, we will be exceeding that measure also. So with that 1 fail, it shows an overall fail for the whole thing, adult, dissipated worker, and youth. So as long as we meet that, we'll meet that, the performance measures overall. So that concludes my report. If there's not any questions.
Celebrate. I think we should celebrate when you've exceeded.
Any other business to discuss? Seeing none, any public comment? Hearing none, next meeting. Help me out with the date. Well, we moved it up a week, so we didn't run into Juneteenth. So June 12th, 4 p.m. Fingers crossed, no flooding. We'll be at the CEFS main office over on South Banker for our next meeting.
3 p.m.
3 p.m., yes. I would entertain any motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion.
Thank you, Lori Jennings. I'll second. Chris Stroll. Meeting is adjourned at 4:01 p.m.
Awesome. So just real quick housekeeping, those joining us online, we will recording. So anything you say or do that comes across your microphone or your camera will be matter of public record as we do post these videos. And please remain muted unless it's your turn to speak. Otherwise, as soon as everyone is ready, we'll look at consortium.
How about if we start at 4:05? 3 minutes for people to use the restroom or get a drink if they need to.
All right, sounds good. Give us 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes while we do some quick breaks. I will go mute for that time.
Hey, Jamie, just let me know when you want me to start.
Okay, sounds good. We are just about almost all back in here. So Kevin, whenever you are ready, you call the AWEA 23 consortium meeting to order.
All right, thank you everybody for coming today. Let's just call the meeting to order. Do roll call, please.
Casey Bergholzer.
Here.
Kevin Busher,
Yes.
Glenn Jorgensen. Nancy Purdy.
Here.
Gerald Baloo.
Here.
Laura Jennings.
Here.
Rob Jackman. Oh, Rob.
We have Joy Corinne serving as proxy for Perkins.
Chris Stroll,
Here.
Connie Walter. We are good, Kevin.
All right, next is to approval of the minutes for December 12th, 2023 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? Okay, we got a second.
Second from Chris.
Thank you, Chris. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Next is conflict of interest. Anybody has a conflict of interest? It'll be the time to bring that up right now. No conflict of interest. We're going to move on to general information, a business service update. Jamie.
If it's okay, I will take just a moment of my report time and ask Joy if she would go ahead and introduce herself as the new Perkins specialist at Lakeland College. She was just asked to jump on this call just to check it out under no pressure, and then she did. So now I'm going to make her talk. So just give us a quick, brief introduction, Joy. And you're muted. There.
Hi, my name is Joy Corinne, and I recently was hired as the Perkins Specialist at Lakeland College. I started at the end of January. I've worked at the college in other positions over the past 4 years, but I'm excited to be here with Perkins.
Thank you for joining us, Joy. And thank you for being here today, this evening sometime. So real quick on business service team, we have met since our last quarterly meeting. We met on January 18th, February 15th, and just recently on March 15th as well. These last 3 meetings, we've mostly focused on our plans as individual partners and our plans as a business team overall for this next entire year. What we have come up with is that we want to host an employer summit in September in honor of Workforce Development Month. Those 2 things were decided together. It was not coincidental that we were going to do Workforce Development Month and an employer summit. It was all thought out ahead of time, right? We are also going to really learn more about how we can implement talent pipeline management theories and concepts to our local area. And us TPM experts are going to being a team about training the entire business service team in those theories, those concepts, and how we can implement them right here. So each month we're doing a small training session on each of those 6 strategies. Part of those strategies, strategy 1 is to develop sector collaboratives, is what they're called in TPM. What we've been doing and calling them have been sector roundtables. So they are sector partnerships that are required by WIOA. Talent pipeline management is just a framework that makes that a little bit more intentional and data driven. So last year in 2022, we had a healthcare roundtable and a manufacturing roundtable. We will continue with some TPM concepts to those collaborative groups throughout this year. And then we will also expand to offer roundtables to IT and childcare, potentially over the next few months. And then with any luck at all, we will, in the next 12 to 24 months, be able to boast that we have a collaborative or roundtable for each of the sectors in our 5 focus sectors according to our regional plan. Some partner events and updates for 2023. The Lakeland College in Eastern Illinois Education for Employment Systems 340 8th grade career conference is happening. The 31st annual is happening March 30th and 31st. There are 61 external businesses registered to be career presenters. The best year that I have seen in the past has been 44. So this is a tremendous growth, and this really exemplifies that local employers are seeing the value and making the time to really cultivate their future talent, not just worrying about the now, but coming up with a long-term game plan for how are they going to get local students interested in the careers here, know about the opportunities that are available to them here, and really start to create that intentional talent pipeline. LWIA 23 updates the regional plan for 2024 through 2028. That planning group will most likely start later this year so that we can be in good situation for July 2024. And then also one-stop MOU updates are due in April, and Tony has been working with the partners to get that MOU all squared away, although those updates. Adult education, both at Lakeland and IECC have expanded their ESL offerings in response to local business need, and they have both started to implement virtual reality career exploration services or expand on what was already there. For IDES partners, virtual job fairs for re-entry populations have been really popular. I've sat in on one, and I believe there were at least one or two before that one. So there seems to be a lot of interest in that. And then also they recently went through their Department of Labor audit for veteran services at the Effingham office in February. Our partners at DRS report that local reopening for walk-ins started in February. Some services would be available for walk-ins, but some services still needed to have appointments. And they are also in the process of reviewing how they do job lead referrals to appropriate field offices. For economic development partners, we heard about ETIP funds, grants for art, restaurant, hotel, and industries are coming out soon. Advantage Illinois program has $350 million to be coming soon, I think. New loan guarantee program coming soon. Adventure Capital for small biz coming soon. Climate Bank for small biz coming soon. And EGA projects in the spring and the summer, or CEJA, Climate Environmental something Act. We're close. Jobs. That's what the J stands for, jobs. New York University reports that their virtual job fairs for the reentry population have been successful. They've had 81 participants enrolled in their services. 56 have been released to local areas, and 26 of those have been confirmed to have employment at this time. Talked about talent pipeline management. Demand planning survey report came out from our healthcare roundtable in February. We will be following up with manufacturing roundtable and develop 2 new roundtables, as I already discussed. Local business trends talked about have been Phoenix Logistics and Mattoon buying the old R.R. Donnelly building, and they're looking to hire a couple hundred people in the next near future. And then Stevens Industry in Teutopolis has started their in-house childcare program, and that is seeing wild success. State events in 2023 are the WIOA Summit in May on the 11th and 12th. So get that on your calendar. You might see someone familiar doing a presentation, or maybe not. We haven't heard back yet if it was approved. So we're waiting on that, but hope to see you there. And then just as far as LWIA 23 business outreach, we've been to Mattoon and Charleston Chamber events, ECIDC, East Central Illinois Development Corporation events. We've met with Dana Incorporated in Robinson, Paris Union District Community Leadership presentations, Area Planning Council meeting for Lakeland College Adult Ed, and we've met with Pepsi Mid-America in Effingham. That was a lot. We've done a lot in 3 months. Any questions? All right.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Tony, you want to give a MOU update?
You just want everybody to know that the MOU revisions have been made. I sent them out asking for revisions. I think we only had just a handful of them. So as far as our area is concerned, the budget's been approved, the MOU's been approved. I just got Gerald and Nancy to sign the report of outcomes tonight. They'll be sent in tomorrow. And the MOU and budget will be sent in May 31st. Just in case there are any changes up until that day. That's the last day we can turn it in. So I'm just going to wait for that day just in case. As far as signatures to the MOU, I am missing several. I knew IDES is always going to be the last one to do it. I'm missing Title II from Kaskaskia and ICC. I'm missing Perkins from everybody, Lakeland, KC, and IECC. CSBG, I'm missing BCMW, and Title V, I'm missing Caritas and Goodwill. And unfortunately, I don't think anybody is in this meeting except for Chris and Joy. So I'll reach out to those folks that I'm missing signatures from, see if I can't get them. I need those before we turn into MOU. So that's just where we're at with the MOU, and we'll talk about it again this time next year.
All right, thank you, Tony. Lori, you want to give the one-stop operator report?
The One-Stop Operator Committee, we have met a couple times since our meeting in December. We met first on March 1st. DCO had sent back our One-Stop Operator Agreement for some additional corrections, information. It was basically just some language they wanted added to the agreement. We talked through that, we made the appropriate changes, and that has since been submitted back to the state. We did meet on March 16th last week. Our resource room person in the One Stop, she provided numbers for the individuals coming into the center during the months of January, February, and March. And our numbers, I think they continue to grow a little bit as they realize we are open for business. More and more people will be utilizing the services there in the center. But for January, CFS, we had 59. IDES had 151. In February, IDES had 137 and CFS had 54. And March to date of the 16th, IDES had 50 and CFS had 41. We also have worked on the cross-training schedule. We are going to start that again with the staff in the One Stop beginning July 1st. And we'll hold a couple sessions. There'll be 30-minute sessions. We're going to start with the core partners each month coming in, just sharing information, what we do, who we are. So we're going to be doing that in July, August and September. We are going to talk to the staff there also about if they have any suggestions on resources, possibly speakers who they would like to hear or have coming into the center. And we will also, we're going to reach out to some other OEAs across the state just to see about how they handle the cross-training in their offices also. And I think that concludes my report.
Thank you, Lori. The next on the agenda is just other agenda items discussion. And when Tony and I were putting this agenda together, we were trying to think of other things that we could bring to this agenda for the quarterly meeting. And I just wanted to bring that up for discussion. If anybody had any other items we could have that give, more to this committee each quarter. Wanted to see what your guys' feedback was, if anybody had any items that we need to bring every quarter. I know one thing Tony and I was talking to Tony about was possibly doing a training, having one of the providers do a training on a service that maybe is not well known to all the providers that was within one of our agencies, just so we can learn about all the services provided. I don't know if that's of interest or not. For me, it's just gaining knowledge to help as many people as we can with all the services we all have in our communities. So I was just thinking that would be a possibility.
Kevin, this is Chris. I like that idea because I think even though we know the services that everyone offers now, there are always changes or additions or additional grant dollars. And I think it would do us all good to hear what each partner does and how they can help assist students or clients or customers.
And there could be other things at Lakeland that, that, for example, I'm just picking Lakeland because Chris, you were talking, but could be, you can have that trio do a training for us because I don't know enough about that. I could have our LIHEAP or utility assistants do a training because I know a lot of people we serve are low income and the utility bills are skyrocketing right now. So we could have a training on that. Just for example, different services not necessarily have to be associated with workforce. It'd be nice if it was, but any service that any of our partners might have that could help us just get more awareness to so we can refer the people we serve to those services. Any other thoughts?
Great idea. You want to do it next meeting?
Sure.
Okay, well,
Let
let's
me know.
start anyway.
All right.
It's in here, so.
What are we asking people who are going to do a presentation? Is this like a 10, 15-minute presentation? Do we want them to do something longer? What?
Oh, no. 10 or 15 minutes is, I think, just enough to explain the service. Don't have to get into detail, just to know that people know what it is and how to get access, because, it's just about the referrals.
When are we going to be back in your building? Because if we invite these people, I feel like giving them a virtual option is good. And I love our Al. He's really cool, but I don't know how great this always translates to people who are joining us remotely. And the videos, the playbacks aren't always very crisp to hear.
Right. I'm hoping
Drive to
in
Effingham.
June, we got drywall and painting going on as I speak. So
Fingers crossed next
Yep.
time.
all right. I guess we can go to partner reports, and I will start.
And there
one
was a
thing-
question. Hear it.
Sorry.
What-
Just for during this meeting time,
That's what it sounds like.
So I
I'm
think,
sorry?
basically it's gonna- that asset map that I sent out, it's really going to be a verbal version of that. That's really what it's going to be.
Okay.
Present on DRS and our program, so whenever.
Kevin, I don't know if you heard that, but Carolyn with DRS said that she's happy to do a 10-minute presentation anytime. So Tony's basically writing her name on a list.
Okay. She can do the first one if she wants.
Well, that's already spoken for, Kevin.
Tell me when.
All right. If we go to partner reports, and I can start, we do have, through our CSBG program, we do have a scholarship available. That's due March 31st. You can go on our website and go to services, and go to outreach programs, and it's on there, our scholarship application. Or if you want to know more, you could just email me and I'll email it to you if you know anybody that wants to apply. We typically don't have many apply each year. So we usually have around $8,000, and we typically only have 2 or 3 people apply. And we're giving out $2,000 to $3,000 scholarships, but so it's a pretty good deal if you want to pass that on. The other thing we got going on, it's not non-related workforce, but as I said before, utilities cost is going way up. And April 1st is the date that the utility companies can turn the electricity off. They can't do that during the cold winter months. So if you got people that are in that situation that they're going to get their utilities cut off, please send them to our, the CSBG partners, BCMW or IRBA or CFS. We all have the LIHEAP program. And I know the state says we probably have enough money through the middle of May. So the sooner they get in, the better for them. So I just wanted to pass that on, that we do have funding now to help people with disconnection on their utilities, gas and electric. So That is all I have. Who wants to be next?
Can I ask you a question? Do they have,
Sure.
they have to be actually turned off, or can they just have notice that they're gonna get turned off?
Usually they're gonna get a letter, like the people are be getting letters right now saying they're gonna get disconnected April 1st. So as long as they have that letter,
If they have a letter,
yeah.
okay.
I'll go next. Title II, Lakeland College, Adult Education and Perkins. Adult Education is currently offering GED classes throughout the area. If anyone is interested in GED classes, contact me and I will get them to the right person to get them registered for any upcoming classes or in our current classes. Also offering ESL classes, and Jamie brought up, there are many businesses in our area that have, I won't say many, but a few businesses that have reached out because their immigrant population numbers have increased on the sales floor, the manufacturing floor, and they are looking for some additional assistance to help with individuals that English is their second language. We've got one program going right now with the possibility of a second one at graphic packaging, which I know sits outside of our local workforce area, but is part of our Lakeland College area. We also are offering welding and DNA classes right now through our ICAPS program, which is a contextualized learning that is offered through adult education. You got to meet Joy. She is our new Perkins specialist. So Perkins right now, we spent a little bit of time this morning working on the budget. We're coming to the end of the budget year in June, just like a lot of the rest of you with grant dollars. And Joy will be working with our Lakeland College partners and our CTE programs to figure out what we'll be purchasing for next year and how we can help students. So if a student is in a CTE program and does meet the qualifications for Perkins, they can get assistance with consumables, supplies, tools, uniforms, and some of the other things that are required for their coursework. Sure.
For your welding class, how long is that welding class?
It runs just short of a semester. I think it's about 12, 13 weeks. And they do come out with a basic welding certificate, which is 11 and a half credits, I believe.
Email me the actual course code, because I paid for somebody to take that course, but they took like the full welding course. And so,
Oops.
yeah. So I need the short version.
Yes. You need the zip code, right? Oh, that's
Yes.
zip code. Gotcha.
I can go for urban for CSBG. We also have scholarships coming out. Our applications won't start until April 1st. And we have a few more than what Kevin says apply, but not a lot. We would like to get some in each of our 9 counties, but we average probably 7 to 10 a year. We get 10,000. So these last few years, it's been slim pickings, but so they've gotten over 1,000 usually. And we do have our skills training program, which right now we're mainly paying tuition for CNA and CDL. So I would like to do the welding. So hopefully we'll get somebody interested in that.
Anybody else have partner reports? Okay, I guess we'll be moving on to old business or new business. Any old business or new business? None? Any public comment? All right, none. When is the next meeting?
June 12th.
Okay, June 12th. All right, I guess I just need a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
Carol made the motion and Chris seconds.
All right. I will thank you, everybody, for attending, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good evening. I am ending the recording now.